Hey everyone, this is Chrono once again, back with another video for Monster Hunter World Iceborne. In today's video, we are going to be continuing my Monster Talk series where I talk about the different monsters that have arrived in Monster Hunter World Iceborne. In my previous episode of Monster Talks, I spoke about the very first post-launch DLC monster that we received in Monster Hunter World Iceborne, and that was none other than the Rajang itself. If you would like to check out the previous episodes of Monster Talks, I'll put the link down in the description below so you can go ahead and check out the previous episodes. Now in today's video, we are going to be talking about the next monster that we get introduced to in Monster Hunter World Iceborne, and that is none other than the next subspecies, which is the Nightshade Paolumu itself. The Nightshade Paolumu is a subspecies of the original fluffball that we got from the base game. Now, being a subspecies of the Paolumu itself, much like other subspecies, the biggest difference between the original Paolumu and the Nightshade Paolumu is the coloration. The Nightshade Paolumu has a night theme going on around its overall coloration. So the overall fur coloration of the Nightshade Paolumu itself is actually very dark blue, almost akin to black, supported by a pale purple coloration on the Nightshade Paolumu's skin. And finally, the Nightshade Paolumu itself has a unique rainbow pattern across its body, which is most prominent across the wings of the Nightshade Paolumu as well as around the neck when the Nightshade Paolumu actually inflates the air sac inside its neck. Now, this rainbow pattern coloration across the Nightshade Paolumu's body still retains the whole night theme that it has going on, because this is actually a reference to an Aurora Borealis that occurs during the night.
Aurora Borealis! At this time of year, at this time of day, in this part of the country, localized entirely within your kitchen.
Yes.
May I see it?
No.
So overall, as you can see, when it comes to the Nightshade Paolumu's overall theme of night, it's very well represented when it comes to the overall Nightshade Paolumu's coloration. So definitely a monster that is well represented when it comes to its overall theme. Now, when it comes to the overall behavior of the Nightshade Paolumu, initial encounters, the monster itself is actually quite friendly, which is something the cutscene itself doesn't actually show, much like that of the Viper Tobikadachi. I always reiterate the fact that cutscenes themselves don't always show the exact same behaviors you would expect from a monster when you actually first encounter them outside of that cutscene. So depending on the monster, the actual interaction between yourself and the monster may differ from what the cutscene actually shows. So in the case of the Nightshade Paolumu, when you actually interact with this monster for the first time, so you encounter it in the locale that you're hunting it in, for example, on an optional mission or an investigation, you can chillax with it, much like the Bombaro and the Viper Tobikadachi, and for the most part, it won't attack you unless you provoke it yourself, or another monster comes into vicinity and provokes the Nightshade Paolumu. Now, having said that, when it comes to actually fighting this monster, and in terms of its combat aggression, then this monster is actually very aggressive when you actually start fighting it. Now, combat aggression itself is basically, in terms of the game itself, is how much a monster will constantly try to bombard you with different attacks. So something like the Azorathalos has a high level of combat aggression, and the Nightshade Paolumu itself also has the exact same thing. This is a monster that likes to constantly attack, and if it's not attacking, it's manipulating its overall capabilities in the battlefield. So this is a monster that likes to move around a lot, meaning that if you're fighting the Nightshade Paolumu, in comparison to the original counterpart, this monster will always try to attack you in some way, shape, or form. If it's not through physical contact with yourself, then it will try to attack you with range attacks. So do watch out for that. This is a monster that's very aggressive upon combat, but fairly docile when you first encounter it. So what you see the first time you encounter the Nightshade Paolumu is very different to once you actually start fighting it. So overall, this is actually a very aggressive monster. So the mask that it has, much like the Viper Tobikadachi when you first encounter it, of just ignoring you, don't mistake that as it being friendly when you start fighting this monster. Again, much like the Viper Tobikadachi or even the Bombaro, they are very aggressive monsters, and the Nightshade Paolumu is no different. Now, moving towards the Nightshade Paolumu's overall capabilities and attack patterns, the Nightshade Paolumu's most unique capability is generating a sleeping gas that it can weaponize in order to attack the players with. Now, the Nightshade Paolumu's sleeping gas can be expelled by the Nightshade Paolumu in two ways. First and foremost, it can use it as a projectile. This means that much like the original Paolumu, it can use it as a breath attack, and if it hits a player, not only will it deal damage to the players, it can also force them to go to sleep. So this is one of the main ways that the Nightshade Paolumu can actually expel the sleeping gas towards the players. The next way that the Nightshade Paolumu can expel the gas itself is by completely expelling it in one go within one area, causing a huge smoke of sleeping gas to be spread out within one area where the Nightshade Paolumu actually expels it in. Now, as the Nightshade Paolumu is expelling the sleeping gas, it does have a form of hitbox. This means that going within the vicinity where the Nightshade Paolumu itself is actually expelling the sleeping gas means players will get dealt damage to them and they will also get forced to sleep. So do watch out for this if you are fighting the Nightshade Paolumu and the Nightshade Paolumu decides to expel the sleeping gas in one go. Now, when it comes to the sleeping gas itself actually leaving the body of the Nightshade Paolumu, the sleeping gas themselves actually linger. This means that even though the Nightshade Paolumu has completely expelled it from its body, does not necessarily mean it's still not a threat. The clouds themselves do linger within the battlefield. This means that if any players actually walk into the cloud of sleeping gas, they will get forced to go to sleep. Not only this, the Nightshade Paolumu actually has great control when it comes to the sleeping gas itself once it leaves the Nightshade Paolumu's body. The Nightshade Paolumu uses its air sac to actually gather up the gases themselves into one spot, and then it can use its tail to actually swat the sleeping gas themselves into different directions that the Nightshade Paolumu swats it in. This means that not only is the Nightshade Paolumu capable of expelling these sleeping gases towards the players, it can also redirect them once they've already been expelled, meaning that the Nightshade Paolumu has great control over the sleeping gas itself even though it's already left its body. Now, when it comes to other attack patterns that the Nightshade Paolumu has, there is one special attack that the Nightshade Paolumu will do when it's completely inflated, which it can use in combination to the sleeping gas itself. And that is none other than the Nightshade Paolumu's special attack, which is the Reckless Rush attack. The Reckless Rush attack, as its name states, is basically a rush attack that the Nightshade Paolumu will do, which can deal heavy damage. First and foremost, the Nightshade Paolumu itself will start recklessly flying in a circle, and then eventually it will rush itself towards the players, dealing a heavy amount of damage to them. Now, this is a special attack instead of a super move because of the fact that the Nightshade Paolumu can actually utilize these attacks almost repeatedly. And it does this by forcing the players to go to sleep, and then afterwards following that sleep capability with the Reckless Rush attack. So the Nightshade Paolumu will force you to go to sleep and deal heavy damage to you with the rush attack itself. As you can see, this is a monster that really abuses its capability of sleep against the players. Now, overall, the Nightshade Paolumu is an amazing addition to the subspecies in Monster Hunter World Iceborne. Not only is this a monster that actually utilizes a status ailment as its main weapon, it's the only monster to do so as of current when it comes to the sleep status ailment. As far as I know, there's only two other monsters that really utilize the sleep status ailment, and they don't really utilize it as their main weapon, and that's none other than the Radoban and the Uragan respectively. When it comes to the Nightshade Paolumu, however, this is a monster that not only has the capability to put you to sleep, it can actually control its ability to put you to sleep and actually make an area of effect that can cause players to be in some form of danger zone when the Nightshade Paolumu completely expels the sleeping gas from its body. So, as you can see, overall, this is a monster that has an amazing ability, and in combination with its ability to do the Reckless Rush attack that deals heavy amounts of damage, this is a very smart monster overall, because not only is the Nightshade Paolumu forcing you to go to sleep, after it's forced you to go to sleep, it's gonna follow it up with a heavy damage dealing attack that can cause players to really put themselves in a position where they might get KO'd during a hunt. So this is a monster that's not only really careful in utilizing its capabilities of sleep, it actually abuses it to an extent that the monster itself will always see an opportunity to do a heavy damage dealing attack to the hunters. So overall, this is a very amazing monster. Now, when it comes to the endgame of Monster Hunter World Iceborne, the Nightshade Paolumu itself is actually present in the endgame as well, which makes this monster even more amazing in comparison to something like the Viper Tobikidachi when it comes to presentation. This is because of the fact that the Viper Tobikadachi isn't available in the endgame, whereas the Nightshade Paolumu is. And the great thing about the Nightshade Paolumu in the Guiding Lands especially is that this is a monster that can make or break a hunt in the Guiding Lands. Now, depending on the situation that you are in, and if there is a Nightshade Paolumu present in the Guiding Lands that you're hunting in, if the Nightshade Paolumu itself converges with any other monsters within the Guiding Lands, there's two things that can potentially happen. First and foremost is the negative side of it. The negative side of it is that the Nightshade Paolumu itself will start expelling the sleeping gas across the battlefield between you and another monster, and you get forced to sleep. This is a free hit to the large monster that you're hunting. This means that if you're not prepared to resist the sleeping capabilities of the Nightshade Paolumu, let's say bringing in an immunity mantle, you don't bring that because you're hunting a completely different monster, and the Nightshade Paolumu comes in, then the monster itself has an advantage over you because of the fact that the monster itself can have a free hit on you if you are forced to go to sleep by the Nightshade Paolumu. However, having said that, the complete opposite can occur. This means that if the Nightshade Paolumu is present and you actually are prepared to resist some of its capabilities, such as bringing in an immunity mantle, then the complete reverse occurs. This means that if you are able to resist the sleeping gas but the monster isn't, so it hasn't built up resistance to sleep, the monster itself will go to sleep due to the Nightshade Paolumu's capability, and that is a free hit for you. And not only that, you also get the sleep multiplier when it comes to hitting this monster because the monster itself is asleep. So as long as the monster is asleep, you get the sleep multiplier regardless of how that sleep was applied. So the Nightshade Paolumu actually makes this hunt for you because it's giving you a free hit. So again, this is a monster that can make or break your hunt in the Guiding Lands depending on the situation. So overall, the Nightshade Paolumu being present in the Guiding Lands really makes it an amazing monster, and it's also one of those monsters that gives you quite an advantage or disadvantage depending on the situation that you're in. So overall, I think the Nightshade Paolumu is a great addition to Monster Hunter World Iceborne. Now that is pretty much it for me for this episode of Monster Talks. In my next episode of Monster Talks, we are going to be talking about the next monster that we get introduced to in Monster Hunter World Iceborne, as well as the next subspecies that we get introduced to in this particular expansion. And that is none other than the Coral Poke. Until then, I hope you enjoyed this video, thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.